How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be going over my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Vegas 107, Blanchfield vs. Barber on May 31st, 2025. Timestamp is in the comments below. Let's get right into it with the first fight of 11. We start with Rayanne Amanda dos Santos versus Alice Ardelean. I'm going to go with Rayanne Amanda dos Santos on this one. Firstly, I want to say something. My research skills have been greatly limited after ESPN has removed literally every fight card in UFC history, essentially, besides like 309 for some reason. They haven't removed that, and then fucking last Vegas 106. So I wasn't able to watch a lot of tape on either of these ladies, but I just think that Rayanne's better. From my memory, Rayanne Amanda dos Santos had two really close fights with Puja Tomar and Talita Alencar. And a lot of that was her being the better striker in the most part and being able to take a punch and kind of keep walking forward. Alice Ardelean really relies on power and physicality in her fights. Like Shauna, the Shauna Bannon fight, for example. In the early goings, on the feet, she couldn't really get close to Shauna, so she resorted to kind of just charging at her and trying to get takedowns. And that's a part of Alice's game that she does want to go for, is the takedowns. She will shoot every now and then if she feels uncomfortable on the feet, which I think Rayanne's going to be able to do. Alice hits decently hard, so does Rayanne Amanda. I think Rayanne takes shots better and has better cardio. She actually kind of like builds into fights in a way. Alice cannot control range as well as like Puja does with like a sidekick. Alice is very like kickboxer, boxer, base-esque. Same with Rayanne. But I think Rayanne Amanda is just a little bit better, and she'll be able to win a decision over Alice Ardelean. Alice will slow down. She's older. She hasn't had, like, she's had, like, decent competitive fights with, you know, Melissa Martinez and, like I mentioned, Shauna Bannon. But I think that she slows down a little too quick. I think Rayanne, maybe the first round's competitive, but then rounds 2 and 3 swing her way, just with Alice slightly slowing down and Rayanne still being able to keep up a pace. And also, Alice isn't really a full-time MMA fighter. She's actually an OnlyFans model. So I'll go Rayanne Amanda dos Santos, unanimous decision. At least 29-28, if not 30-27. We move to Bolaji versus Michael Aswell. I'm going to go with Bolaji. This fight literally got announced today. Bolaji was supposed to be fighting Marquel Medeiros. Marquel pulled out, so Michael Aswell steps in. He lost to Bogdan Grad on the Contender Series, if you guys remember that fight. It was actually a really good fucking fight. Went to war, the two of them. But I think Bolaji is just, his style works a bit better against Michael Aswell, because Michael Aswell is a guy who really thrives in chaotic situations. He's a guy who likes to push a pace, kind of mess you up, push you back, and kind of be in your face, kind of like make it a dogfight. Bolaji is a very kind of, he can do well in chaotic situations, but he's he's a little slick for most people. You know, he leans just ever so slightly back and is able to counter you really well. And he hits decently hard. You know, Chris Duncan, prior to the submission attempt, he was winning. Like, he was actually landing a lot of good shots. Ended up getting a takedown and then got back to his feet, started hurting him again, and then he jumped another takedown, and then Chris got the guillotine, whatever. Bolaji, he's athletic. Michael Aswell is also a featherweight moving up. Now, this could be a case rather, of lighter man's skill. I don't know. Michael Aswell was booked a couple weeks in the future. I think it was June 21st or 22nd or something like that. But I think Bolaji, you know, he's also got a bit of grappling edge to him. If he's able to capitalize on a mistake that you make where you throw a kick and he catches, he's able to tabletop you, or, you know, you throw something stupid, overextend, and that's something Michael Aswell will do a lot. I think Bolaji got a bit better, cardio, maybe not. He did it seemed like he slowed down a lot in that Chris Duncan fight, but he did look good against Timmy Kwamba. I think Bolaji just has a bit better, diverse attack. He's able to do more on the feet. Michael Aswell's kind of, I need to run at you to make shit work. I think Bolaji is going to tag him, do a bit more damage in this sense throughout the fight. Michael Aswell can make it dirty, but I think Bolaji is going to have a crisp performance, maybe even a 29-28 unanimous decision. We move to Kurt Holobaugh versus Jordan Leavitt. I'll go with Jordan Leavitt. It's tricky. I think it really boils down to how bad Kurt Holobaugh is at takedown defense and off his back. I know Jordan Leavitt technically has a worse takedown defense than Kurt Holobaugh, but I've seen Kurt Holobaugh get held down so easily by too many people, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen too many people do that for me to think that he beats a huge grappler like Jordan Leavitt, who I've seen out-grapple Paddy Pimblett during moments, you know what I mean? Like, hold him against the fence and get takedown after takedown for like 4 minutes of the first round. Kurt Holobaugh, he's going to be a way better striker than Jordan Leavitt. To be fair, Jordan Leavitt's unorthodox as fuck on the feet. He throws a lot of teeps to the body and low kicks. That's kind of it. Kurt Holobaugh is kind of an in-your-face kind of guy, but he does overswing to the sense where he can just kind of get picked up and slammed. Not picked up and slammed, but kind of just like toppled over with like an attack at the hips. He's old. He's old as shit, man. And Jordan Leavitt's been in there with some solid guys. He's only lost to, Pimblett, Chase Hooper, and who was the other guy that beat him? I forget. Who was the other fella? It was earlier in his career. Yeah, it was Claudio Puellas. So those are big lightweights. Those are huge lightweights who can mix it up anywhere. I think that Jordan Leavitt just out-grapples Kurt Holobaugh. On the feet, it's going to be a lot of Kurt Holobaugh advancing, Jordan Leavitt kind of backing up, waiting for an opportunity to shoot a takedown. I think Jordan Leavitt either submits Kurt Holobaugh or takes him to a decision, maybe 29-28. I just think he out-grapples Kurt Holobaugh. On the feet, like I said, Kurt Holobaugh is going to be in his face at all times. Jordan Leavitt kind of spamming those low kicks, teeps to the body, kind of winging straight shots. I think Jordan wins. We move to Trevin Giles versus Andreas Gustafsson. I'm going to go with Andreas Gustafsson. But I think this fight could be really tricky. Trevin Giles has always kind of been a, like, almost Phil Hawes kind of individual in MMA where he's undisputably really solid. Like, he's a really solid striker, really good straight punches. Whenever he throws, he looks really good. The Mike Malott performance comes to mind where he looks really sharp, but just doesn't throw enough. Or he has a performance like against Carlos Prates where he looks really fucking good and then just gets chinned. That's like the story of this dude's career. You rarely see performances where he's like just utterly dominated. Besides like the Gabriel Bonfim performance, that's just because he got subbed really early in that fight. But Trevin Giles is really good. I just, he hasn't fought. Excuse me. That's not what I meant. He just, like, I don't know if he's a fighter first. You know what I mean? I don't know if he has that gritty mentality that an Andreas Gustafsson has. Andreas Gustafsson, don't get me wrong, I think he's going to get fraud checked very soon. I thought that the matchup prior to this, who was he supposed to fight again? Who was he supposed to? Yeah, Jeremiah Wells. I think that fight could have really been strange for him because Andreas Gustafsson has weird takedown defense. We've seen that on the regional scene where he can kind of get picked up and slammed. I think Andreas is gritty, though. On the feet, Trevin is going to be a lot better than him, though. On the feet, he's going to look a lot cleaner. Andreas Gustafsson's kind of a left hook spammer, charging in, right overhand, kind of. He's like a marauder, you know what I mean? Like, he just kind of throws to throw type shit. Or he'll clinch you and hold you against the fence, knee to the thigh, knee to the body, land elbows, land punches. He's a very in-your-face, hold 'em, drag 'em kind of guy. And I think Andreas Gustafsson's going to be able to do that. Because I think Trevin Giles just doesn't... I don't know if he wants it as bad. Trevin Giles, He's on a 3-fight losing streak. The last person he beat was who? Preston Parsons, and that was a split decision all the way back in 2023. And prior to that, it was Luis Cosi, Ryan Cosi's brother, I imagine. Yeah. It's just he's one of those guys where it's like he only loses to really solid guys. GM3, Dreykus, Michael Morales, Gabriel Bonfim, Carlos Prates, Mike Malott. He doesn't beat a lot of good people, though. Who's his best UFC win? Maybe Kraus? Oh, Dolidze. He did beat Roman Dolidze. I forgot about that, but I think Andreas Gustafsson's going to be able to bully Trevin Giles if he's able to get close to him. Maybe drag him down, find a sub. That's something Trevin Giles has struggled with. He's been submitted 3 times in his career. Andreas, he's a very just gritty fucker, man. He's a gritty fucking dude, and he has a good chin as well. So I think he can somewhat just drag on Trevin Giles, kind of drag him to deep waters, and force him to fight a fight that he's not comfortable with. So I'll go Andreas Gustafsson. We move to Ketlen Vieira versus Macy Chiasson. I'm going to go with Macy Chiasson on this one. I think she's going to be too big and too, just a better striker than Ketlen Vieira in this fight. Ketlen, her whole style is essentially anti-grappling with, decent pocket work. That's kind of it. That's kind of her whole thing. Macy Chiasson's going to have a huge frame advantage in this one. And I'll be the first to tell you, I think Macy Chiasson's looked really stellar her past 2 performances against Pani Kianzad and Mayra Bueno Silva. She's just looked, ever since she came back from the Irene Aldana fight, which she was winning. She was winning that entire fight, and then she got kicked in the liver with an up kick or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Macy looks good. And she's only lost in the UFC to, Irene Aldana, aforementioned, Raquel Pennington, and then Lena Landsberg, to be fair. But that was all the way back in 2019. Ketlen Vieira, they're both kind of inactive for some reason. And this fight was booked a while ago. I think this was supposed to be on the Seattle card, but then got moved. Why did that fight actually get moved? Was it... Who pulled out? Oh, Macy withdrew from that fight, so maybe that could play it. Maybe not, I don't know. But I just think, if you factor in the momentum going into a fight like this, Ketlen's 1-2 in her last 3. Macy, and to be fair, Ketlen's only lost to Raquel Pennington and Kayla Harrison, and she actually went to a decision with Raquel Pennington. I just think Macy Chiasson's style works better against a Ketlen Vieira than some of these other girls. Macy doesn't really get held against the fence too easily. She's kind of like a tough cookie, make her way out of those positions, get back to range, kind of. And even in the pocket, she's able to eat a punch or two and land elbows of her own, kind of. She's awkward to deal with for these ladies, and she's very big for the division, really great rangy strikes, and also very tough elbows and knees up the middle, up to the side, kind of cutting, bruising. And Ketlen Vieira, she's kind of like a hold'em kind of fighter, like she did against Holly Holm, and I'm pretty sure she did the same thing against Pani Kianzad, if I remember correctly. But I think Macy Chiasson, she's got more finishing potential in a matchup like this, and I think that she's just overall a better fighter than Ketlen Vieira. More momentum, better weapons. I'll go Macy Chiasson. I don't think this is a fight where Ketlen Vieira is going to be able to hold down Macy Chiasson. Either go for takedowns and get them. Macy's looked really solid in that department, especially as of recent. So, yeah, I'll go Macy Chiasson. We move to the featured prelim, Jafel Filho versus Allan Nascimento. I'm going to go with Jafel Filho. This could backfire on me, to be fair. Allan is so inactive as a fighter, and he's so, he pulls out of a lot of fights. And I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't know if that's whether it's visa issues or injuries. I know he withdrew with an illness when these guys were supposed to fight a while ago. But I think Jafel Filho, he's going to have a stand-up advantage. And I really like that when you have 2 really high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu grapplers going against each other. For one, if you guys don't know, Allan Nascimento has 15 wins by submission, and Jafel Filho has 10. So these guys are really good at jiu-jitsu. Allan Nascimento is more of a guy where he's going to really attack a submission. Like, he'll ground you and then go for it. And Jafel Filho's kind of the same way, but I think Jafel Filho has a bit more of that defensive jiu-jitsu in his back pocket, where he's able to roll for a knee bar, where he's able to throw up an arm bar off his back, where he's able to kind of scramble in those certain positions. I think Jafel Filho is going to be one of those featherweights that's going to be able to match the size of Allan Nascimento, something he usually has a huge advantage over people in, is the size department. Allan Nascimento is a pretty big dude. I think Jafel Filho, dude, he was winning a lot of exchanges in that Muhammad Bakayev fight. I put a lot of weight into that. Jafel Filho recently beat Amir Albazi in a grappling match. I really like that. Amir Albazi's a pretty stout, thick flyweight, and he was able to out-grapple him in ACDC, I believe. Or it was like Fury grappling or something. Let me actually check that really quick. I believe it was ACDC. It was ADXC. That's what it is. That's what it was. Not ACDC. I don't know. But I think Jafel Filho, like I said, on the feet, I like him a lot more than Allan Nascimento. He picks his shots a lot better. Allan Nascimento, he's a very muscly kind of guy, and he kind of stays to the bread and butter type shit. But Jafel Filho is able to go out there and throw wild stuff, and he's able to take a little bit of damage and then bounce back from it. Andre Lima takes Daniel Perez to the third round. Jafel takes him out in one. You know what I mean? I really like the work of Jafel Filho so far in the UFC. He dominates Ode Osborne in one round. Like a lot of people, if you're going to be anything, that's what you need to do. He did that. Daniel Perez, he did that. Muhammad Bakayev was doing really fucking well. He beat a 7-0 opponent on the Contender Series. This is the guy, Royber is the guy on The Ultimate Fighter right now from fucking Venezuela. On The Ultimate Fighter. He beat him. You know what I mean? To get into the UFC. Jafel Filho has a lot of great work. He's able to get finishes on the feet, and that's something I really value. Like I said, when you got these really high-level grapplers going up against one another, he can set up the grappling opportunities better than Allan Nascimento, or force Allan Nascimento into a tricky situation, make him feel forced to grapple, make a mistake. I think Jafel Filho wins. I think he can find a finish. I'm not sure. Allan Nascimento's a tough dude. He's never been finished before. So I'll go Jafel Filho by decision. We move to the start of the main card. Zachary Reese versus Duško Todorović. I'm going to pick Zachary Reese by first round TKO. I've just seen Duško Todorović get knocked out too many times to pick him against a very quick twitch, fast, quick starter in Zachary Reese, who I've seen, just beat people. You know what I mean? Like Julian Marquez, he knocked out in 20 seconds. He gets the armbar over Eli Aronov. He beat the ever-living shit out of Jose Daniel Medina, which, to be fair, Teba Gaultier finishes him in one, so how good is a Teba Gaultier? He's only losing to Azamat Bekoev, and the Cody Brundage fight was a fluke. That was just a fluky-ass slam, right? I think Zachary Reese, he just hits too hard. Like, Duško, all fucking 4 of his losses are by first round KO. To be fair, they are Christian Leroy Duncan when he tears his knee, Mansur Abdul-Malik, Chidi Njokuani, and Gregory Rodriguez, and Punahele Soriano. Gee, he actually went to a decision with RoboCop. That makes no sense whatsoever. And he doesn't have a lot of great wins. Daquan Townsend is garbage. Maki Pitolo is trash. Jordan Wright is fucking awful. He's got a lot of really good finishing instincts, Duško Todorović. He just can't take a hit. He can't take a punch. Neither can Zachary Reese to be. He's kind of chinny too as well. But I favor his chin and power over Duško Todorović's chin and power. I think Zachary clips him with like a left hook or right hook in the pocket when Duško's kind of being a goober and kind of like has a kind of like lower hand stance. He's just going to get hit with like an uppercut or hook and get set down, and Zachary Reese is going to pound his ass. Pause. Holy shit. I think Zachary Reese finishes him in the first round, though. We move to Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopes. I'm going to go with Dustin Jacoby on this one. I'm going to be honest with you, I just don't really feel like picking Bruno Lopes. I don't rate him as a fighter all that highly. I think that he's kind of just there for me as a fighter. He's just kind of a fighter on the roster. He doesn't really do a lot of things well. He just doesn't do a lot of like things that stand out to you. He's got a good clinch game. I'll give him that. He's got decent clinch work. You know, he showed that a lot in the Magomed Gajiasula fight. He's able to wear and tear on people. We saw that on the Sajiani fight on the Contender Series, the Georgian fat guy. But besides that, the striking is very one-dimensional. He gets hit a lot. He gets hurt pretty easily. You can say a lot of the same things about Dustin Jacoby, to be fair. He's got a weird suspect chin, gets dropped a lot. But I think Dustin Jacoby's got the better striking. Like, dude, Dustin Jacoby beat Khalil Roundtree. Like, I don't care. Like, that it's counted as a loss. He beat him. He won the fight. I don't think Bruno Lopes does that to fucking Khalil Roundtree. Dustin Jacoby's able to outstrike Khalil Roundtree, who's actually really fucking good. Maybe Bruno Lopes is able to mix in the clinch. I think Dustin Jacoby's going to be able to, if he's able to pressure Dominic Reyes the way that he did, if he's able to do that to Vitor Petrino, these really big guys, you know, who have that menacing aura in the cage, where they have that feeling about them. Bruno Lopes doesn't bring anything to the table. He wears a cowboy hat. That's about it. You know what I mean? I think Dustin Jacoby's going to be able to tag Bruno Lopes at range. Bruno Lopes has weirdly short arms. It says that Dustin only has a 2-inch reach. You can clearly tell by the frames that that's just not true. Bruno Lopes has those really weird short forearms, and Dustin has those longer kind of forearm builds. He's just kind of like a thinner, kind of not as wide, more compact, like rectangular shaped fellas. I think Dustin Jacoby's got better kickboxing chops. I would hope he would, as he was in Glory at one point. I don't think Bruno Lopes has that crazy amount of power either. He only has like 6 knockouts. He's a very he's a very break you kind of guy. And I think it's very rare for a person to break Dustin Jacoby. You know what I mean? Like, he's able to go to a decision with Alonzo Menafield, where he gets dropped every round. He's able to go to a decision with Azamat Murzakanov, which I believe is the only time. No, he's gone to a decision 3 times, to be fair. You know, he's only being finished by Dominic Reyes, which was kind of just like, he got finished. He's knocking out Kennedy Nzechukwu. He's knocking out Vitor Petrino. He's knocking out Du Jung. He's got weird suspect power. And Bruno Lopes has a suspect chin. I think this could be a fight where Dustin Jacoby just out of nowhere gets another weird-ass knockout. And everyone's like, oh my god, Dustin Jacoby's fucking wild. And then he goes back in his next fight. He'll fight like a better prospect and then just lose. I'll go Dustin Jacoby by first or second round knockout with like a right straight or maybe a left hook. Kind of Bruno Lopes trying to counter something maybe and makes a mistake and gets clipped for it. I just don't really want to pick him. We move to the featured fight. Billy Ray Goff versus Ramiz Brahimaj. Shit. I started coughing near the end there. I'm going to go with Billy Ray Goff. He's just a junkyard dog, man. And Ramiz Brahimaj is like very much the same, but I just think Billy Ray Goff can do it better. That's really about it. You know, he's going to a decision with Trey Waters. You know, he hasn't fought since then, to be fair, but he's had people pull out against him. He was supposed to fight Veretinnikov. Veretinnikov ended up fighting the week after somehow. I don't even know how that's possible. He was supposed to fight Adam Fugit on Seattle and then got pressed back to that card. He was supposed to fight Seok-Hyun Ko this weekend. Now he's fighting Ramiz Brahimaj. Both different stylistic matchups for both of them. Ramiz, decent in the pocket, kind of a bite down, kind of get at him. I don't like Ramiz's losses, though. That's the thing. I'm not a huge fan of a Temba Garimbo, like, masterclass. Like, Temba Garimbo, like, made, like, Ramiz look not good. Like, he just held him against the fence and kind of beat him up. Max Griffin is able to beat you Court McGee is able to beat you. You know what I mean? Like, these are not... Like, that's Max Griffin in 2020, to be fair, and Court McGee in 2022, and that's another thing. Ramiz Brahimaj, inactive as fuck. Very inactive, primarily. Billy Ray, to be fair, hasn't fought since May of 2024 as well. But I think Billy Ray Goff is able to bite down on the mouth guard, advance forward, land big shots, has a good chin to take whatever Ramiz has coming towards him. I don't know if Ramiz has the same chin. You know what I mean? I think Billy Ray Goff, if he can even sense that you're hurting a little bit, and Ramiz Brahimaj will concede to the fence sometimes, he just starts unloading, man. Pause, by the way. But just starts absolutely making you cover up, making the ref have to step closer, say, fight back, fighter! Making you kind of throw these loosey-goosey ass punches to try and not get the fight stopped or shoot terrible takedown attempts. This is a very different fight from a Trey Waters, where Trey Waters has a 7-inch height advantage over him. Billy Ray Goff is fighting a man to his similar size. He does really well in matchups like that. Billy Ray Goff is going to be able to walk down Ramiz Brahimaj and land big shots. Ramiz might try to walk him down. He'll catch some big shit coming back at him. This will be a very entertaining fight. I think Billy Ray Goff wins by TKO in the first or second round. We move to the co-main event, Mateusz Gamrot versus Leavitt Klein. I'm going to go with Gamrot by decision. It's a weird fight just because Leavitt Klein has a lot of momentum with him at the moment. And Gamrot is coming off a loss. But I think just Gamrot's too fucking good, man. I think people still underrate him to the day. Mateusz Gamrot is really fucking good at fighting in general. But more importantly, he sets up takedown attempts really fucking well. And Klein has had awkward performances that I'm not a huge fan of. The Roosevelt Robert performance comes to mind. If you're going to be anything that I really like to see, I think you should be finishing Roosevelt Roberts, in my personal opinion. Thiago Moises, kind of the same thing, where he has a masterclass of a performance over Thiago Moises. He's just not finishing these guys. You know, AJ Cunningham he finishes, but besides that, the last guy he finished was, you know, is that fucking Shane Young? That's when he missed weight, too. Like, because that's the way that he beats a Gamrot, is by knocking him out. Because even though Gamrot has 0 knockout losses, it is just a thing where he does have a suspect chin. He gets clipped and goes down. That's always kind of been the thing. RDA clips him in round 1, almost knocks him out. Dan Hooker clips him multiple times throughout the fight. End of round 1 comes extremely to mind. Beneil Dariush, round 3, clobbers him. Arman Sarukian, spinning back fist, drops him. A couple others probably sprinkled in there as well. But I just think that he's too good against, like, an unranked fighter. Like, Leavitt Klein is probably one of the better strikers out of all those guys I just named, if you add him in there. I think Leavitt Klein has really solid standout striking that really pops off on the eye test. But I don't know. He has like a 91% takedown defense, which, to be fair, that is really fucking high for a lightweight. He ain't never grappled with a guy like Gamrot. He's got, you know, Moises shooting takedowns on him. Moises isn't really that good. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure Jai Herbert was able to get him down like twice. Mason Jones, I believe, was Mason able to get him down? Was Mason Jones able to get a takedown on the legendary Leavitt Klein? Because from what I remember, that was a very one-sided fight. See, like, he's beating these really standout guys. But I just don't know if it matches up against a Gamrot who really can mix it up, who does have underrated striking. You know what I mean? Like, Gamrot striking to the day, he was pinging Faziev's head back quite a few times with a jab in that first round. I just don't know if Leavitt has it yet. I haven't seen him against the type of comp that even matches a Gamrot in, like, ever. He's getting subbed by Nate Landwehr. I can't skip past that. I know that was in 2021. I know he hasn't lost since then.
He's beating Devontae Smith, drawing with Jai Herbert. He's beating A.J. Cunningham and Thiago Moises and Roosevelt Roberts. You know, he beats Bahamondes in a very weird performance by Bahamondes and Mason Jones in a very good fight. They're not Gamrot. They're just not. Gamrot scrambles so fucking well. He's able to catch kicks really well or ankle pick you very well. And a guy like Todorović Klein, who kind of stands with those wider bases, who kind of waits to throw those kicks and kind of throws. He's a very highlight kind of guy. He needs those highlights to look really good. Hence the nickname Mr. Highlight. But when you're watching him, he has a lot of lulls in the action for the most part. Todorović Klein, you'll see him land these combinations that you're like, holy shit, I've never seen someone land a combination that good before. But then, you know, for like quite a bit, he's just kind of there, standing there, waiting. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that against Gamrot, and it's going to be a smaller cage. I think Gamrot's going to be able to get a hold of him, be able to drag him down, wrestle him, build up that lactic acid in those muscles. Gamrot's able to go 5 pretty well. You know, he's fought the best of the best in the division at this point. He's fought a lot of fucking guys. I think Gamrot gets it done. I think he wins by decision. I think he beats Todorović Klein, sends Todorović Klein back down into the unranked abyss of lightweight. I'll go Gamrot 29-28, maybe around Klein is able to drop him. Maybe it's like the first or second, where he's able to clip him with like a left hook or maybe a head kick or something like that. But besides that, I think Todorović might not have as much success as people think he will. We move to the main event. Erin Blanchfield versus Macy Barber. Fucking kill me. I don't even know. I'll pick Barber. I'll pick Macy Barber. This is a really tricky one, I'll be honest with you. I would like, when this fight first got announced, I was like, I don't know who the fuck is going to win this. I leaned Erin early. And then I rewatched the Sermonara fight. Macy Barber isn't too bad. She's actually pretty fucking good. Especially as of recent. Early on in her career, her takedown defense was garbage. I'll be honest with you. Her takedown defense was pretty trash. But she, like, she's got some dog in her, man. I'll give her that. She's got some fucking dog in her. I imagine, as of recent, one of the only things she has been working on is her takedown defense. Because AJ Lee was able to take her down. I'll be honest with you. AJ Lee was able to take her down. Was Amanda Hebos able to get her down? She was. But again, the difference on the feet really made a difference in the fight. Erin Blanchfield's striking is just awful. It's gross to watch. There's no fluidity in it at all. People thought she had good striking after the Jessica Andrade fight just because she was standing with her in the first round. Barber's going to bring the fight to her. She's way faster than Erin Blanchfield. She's got a lot more quick twitch. I think Macy's got a bit more dog in her. She is injury prone, which is something we have to bring in. It's going to be a smaller cage, which can help Erin Blanchfield. But Erin Blanchfield, unironically enough, I don't know what it is, she really relies on her footwork to get anything going. She really loves to circle around people to kind of maybe like disorient them, I guess. Kind of just like do this and then kind of throw a lazy 1-2, maybe get a body lock. Macy Barber's strong. Erin Blanchfield is too, but Macy Barber is just so much more athletic than her. I think Macy can clip her early as well. Macy's got a lot of pop to her punches. She throws a lot of head kicks that can dissuade a girl like Erin Blanchfield from entering in too fast, kind of keep her at bay. She throws a lot of like those, like a lead question mark kick, but it's just very snappy at the top of the key. But I think a Macy Barber is a terrible matchup for an Erin Blanchfield if she's able to stuff the takedowns, which I think she will be able to. Macy Barber in her last performance against Ketlen Sermonara looked really good. She did look really good. And that's a Ketlen Sermonara who's one of the biggest girls in flyweight history at 5'9", who is really solid. And, you know, she was able to defend essentially every takedown that even happened in that fight. I believe that Sermonara only got one takedown, and that was in round 2. And Blanchfield immediately got up from it. Actually, Blanchfield was the one getting takedowns in the fight. She was actually able to control Sermonara for some time. It was round 3 that Ketlen got a takedown. And Ketlen's big and long for that division, and Macy Barber was able to get on the inside. She's actually going to be able to stay on the outside and not have to get in as much. I think Barber, the difference on the feet is going to be way too much, in my personal opinion. I think if Erin Blanchfield wins, she'll win by how she beat Bros, coming on late, having a very competitive third round, swaying it maybe with the grappling. But I think Macy Barber, on damage, I think she should win against Erin Blanchfield. I think in the 4th and 5th round, I think it's going to get very gritty and disgusting for both of them. They're both going to be tired. Maybe Erin, that's when Erin's going to be able to get her takedowns because Macy slows down. But I think all in all, Macy Barber, even including the layoff, she's going to be bigger, stronger, quicker than Erin Blanchfield, and I think just a better fighter overall. Erin Blanchfield, she beat Rose. That's cool. Who did she beat prior to that? Is Jessica Andrade her only other good win? Oh yeah, she did beat Tyla Santos. But the thing is, like, those are weird fights. Rose and Tyla, those are weird fights to score. You know what I mean? Like, those are strange. She did beat Miranda Maverick pretty convincingly, but that's just a stylistic matchup thing. MMA math doesn't work like that. I think Macy Barber wins. I think she'll beat Erin Blanchfield. She can finish her, but I think I'll go decision 48-47. The latter rounds, are going to be very competitive. I think early on, Macy's going to be way too quick for Erin and land a lot of big shots on her. So I'll go Macy Barber. I'm UFC Thoughts. These are my picks and breakdown for every fight on UFC Vegas 107, Blanchfield vs. Barber on May 31st, 2025. My competent picks reside with Jordan Leavitt, Zachary Reese, and in the co-main event, Mateusz Gamrot. My pre-card rating is a 4 out of 10. This is the worst fight night I've seen all year. This is, like, ridiculously bad. I care about literally none of these fights. Gamrot versus Klein, I care about quite a bit, I guess. Besides that, Oban Elliott isn't on the card anymore. Billy Ray Goff should be fun. But besides that, man, there's a whole lot of nothing going on. If I could have skipped this card, I would. But, I don't know. But, yeah. Leave a like if you like the video. Leave a comment down below who you guys believe will win in the main event. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'll see you guys after the fights. Peace.